branches are whipping. Yo, so if your social media feed is anything like my feed, it's full of nothing but MTB POV footage that looks like you're watching it from the center of a snow globe, or you're a goldfish in a fishbowl. What that distortion does is it makes the footage look super fast, faster than actuality. And listen, if you know me, if you follow my channel long enough, you know I don't give a shit about anything that doesn't harm anybody, doesn't harm the trails, it follows the rules. I genuinely don't care and don't have an opinion. And on this, I really don't have an opinion either. I get why they do it. Get after it, get those likes, make those impressions, fire emojis, get after it, I understand. The problem is that distortion, that false impression of speed, it changes how newer riders and even intermediate riders trying to build skills qualify being a good rider. It becomes the only way you're a good rider is if you ride insanely fast. And then the problem with that is not all of this footage we see, people are riding in control. I see tons of POV footage on YouTube where riders are just riding as fast as they can, but they're completely out of control. And they're moments away from big injury. Now listen, again, I don't care, but it is possible to learn how to ride fast with a great foundation of skills so that you build up to speed rather than just go out and become a stuntman and push the limits. So that's what this video is about. It's about starting at the foundation on how to build speed and not just going out there and risking it all for impressions. So, all mate, let's do it. I'm not here to call anybody out. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm not pointing fingers. I don't care enough to do so. So the cool thing about what I'm going to talk about in this video is it doesn't matter what kind of bike you ride. It doesn't matter what skill level you are at. It doesn't matter what type of trails that you are riding. This concept will apply. So it's applicable anywhere to anyone as far as I'm concerned. Hear those gunshots? What I think that is super wide angle mountain bikers coming after me. Gotta be careful. All right, so I think I am safe now. Now here's the thing, this video and my very next video, I'm going to cover some really basic foundational concepts on how to build speed naturally without riding out of your comfort zone, without riding out of control at the edge of your limits. Because when we ride at the edge of our limits, we are not really learning anything. We're riding reactive. We're just trying not to die. Similar to a fight with a bear. So we get into a fight with a bear and we're not building fighting skills when we're fighting that bear. We're fighting for survival. However, if we wanted to build fighting skills, we wouldn't go and fight a bear. We'd start from the very beginning and learn the basics with a coach, and we'd spend time and repetition to build those skills. The problem is when you have a mountain bike, gravity will always give you that bear when you want to fight it. So it's really easy to just say, take me gravity, make this work. And gravity will take you and it will give you fast footage. And if you're lucky, you will survive and you won't break bones and you won't cut skin and you won't spill blood to the gods of the trails. So if you watch this video, you're gonna wanna catch my next video. So I don't know what to tell you. Write it on your hand. Write it on your hand and hope it doesn't wash off. Or you know what I do when I don't wanna forget to pay a bill or I have to send out an email or something? What I do is I put something in an odd place so that every time I see that thing in that odd place, then I remember that I have to do that thing. So like perhaps don't throw your dirty underwear in the hamper, hang it from a light, right? And every time you see your dirty underwear hanging from the light, you'll remember to go watch Slanted Ground's next video. Now, if you're like me, you got like 12 pairs of underwear hanging from 12 lights and it just becomes natural and it becomes normal and then you forget what you were trying to remember just because it's a part of your life. So let's start here. Okay, let's look at this very chunky section of trail. There are optional drops, there are optional rock rolls. So there's there are a lot of options here, which is a cool little playground to build skills, right? To build these skills, I already mentioned we don't want to go fast. We don't want to ride out of our comfort zone, so we're going to ride slow. So how do mountain bikers that can ride fast and in control, how do they do it? Well, obviously it's experience, it's time behind the handlebars. And what all of that actually means is they are able to look at a scenario like this, okay? this scenario they can look at and they can sort of anticipate what it's going to feel like, what the physics are going to do to their body, and what they're going to have to do in preparation to prepare for that and be most successful with their desired outcome. What happens is if you ride out of your limits, if you ride fast all of the time, you don't give your body the chance to build that skill set. So how do we find comfort in this sort of thing? How do we slow it down? How do we build a environment for repetition? Well, it's hard if you ride with the boys or the girls, right? Because what that's gonna do is it's gonna put you on a train that's just gonna keep chugging down the hill, and you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna be put out of your element. You're just gonna be pulled downstream. So what happens is your mistakes are in the past. You've left them behind you, and you haven't given yourself the opportunity to digest them and learn from them. So my suggestion is this: if you're uncomfortable riding by yourself, find another riding partner that's willing to go through this process with you. It's going to be incredibly beneficial for both you and the partners that are willing to do this. Because if you make a mistake and you work through it 2 times, 3 times on the trail, if you're willing to hike back up and session that section, that is going to have an impact on your riding skills that multiplies by many, far beyond what would happen if you just kept carrying on down the trail and left those mistakes behind. So as I look at this section here, I see all these lines, and what I first want to do is I just want to build comfort riding through it slowly. When I ride through it slowly, what that's going to do is it's going to provide some expectations for me as far as what it's going to feel like. What those expectations are going to do is give me a platform to build off of. So let's ride through a couple different lines and just really feel it out and suss it out. So first run is we're going to take this line on the right. We're just going to see what it feels like, and we are going to feel out the physics of it. All right, so let's go slow. Let's feel out the physics, but let's do everything like we know how. We're coming up here. Okay, we're going to bank down here. It's a little slick right there, and then it feeds us into this line. And it brings us over here, and it brings us up here, and it brings us to the drop. So we know that if we're not comfortable with the drop, we don't want to do it, obviously. So we have the option to go around it, so we're going to keep that in mind. So what did I do mentally as I rode that, aside from just feeling out the line and picking out the line and anticipating what it was going to feel like? Well, I looked for areas where my tires might slide if I lock up the brakes. So your tires will always slide when you lock them up. You're going to lose traction when you lock up the brakes. So you need to sort of predetermine where your tire will slide to and whether or not that means you don't want to brake. And we're also looking for places where we can brake. So say I wanted to ride this fast. I'm coming down here fast. Perhaps I want to brake right here before I take this turn through the rocks. So my speed was controlled there. Now as I come up to this rock, I got a straight line onto this rock. So perhaps I can brake right here too. Then I want to be off the brakes right here because it's all green. We don't want to brake on green rocks, especially in the Northeast. These things become ice. Then we're going to come up here. And then look at this. So if we lock up our brakes here, our tire's going to slide down the rock. So we definitely don't want to brake here. Instead, we want to ride this kind of like a little bank turn, which will really put pressure into our tires, which will give us great traction. But as we come out of this, then right here we can brake again, okay, because this is pretty safe. And then we're going to be off our brakes because we're approaching kind of a chunky section. A chunky section will give you inconsistent brake feeling, and you might bounce a little bit, right, at this stage in your riding career. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to be off our brakes, then through here. Now, if we want to take the drop, we can be on our brakes right here and align ourselves for the drop. And if we don't want to take the drop, then we want to see where we can brake to commit to not taking the drop. That'll, be the safest alternative for us. So now that we have our braking points in, we kind of read the lay of the land here in this little section. What we can do is start slowly working up our speed, and we can look for things that might expose themselves because we're riding a little bit faster than they did when we were coming through very slowly. What is this, number 2 is all? Okay, we're coming in. We know we're going to be coming in fast here, so we're going to brake. Slow down there. There we go. Here's another braking point. We're up on the rock. We don't want to brake here. Come down, brake, off the brakes through here. We can brake and make our decision there. And we're up here to our drop if we want to drop it. If you say you just hopped off this rock right here and just rode on down the trail, okay? And you never actually ever rode this section again and never gave it another thought. You motherfucker just taught yourself something though, okay? You just learned something. You read a trail a little bit and you applied it to a feeling. So you just left learning something. Now, if you came blasting through here, as fast as you could go, out of control, and blazed on through here, you would have made tons of mistakes, right? And you would have left this section not learning anything. But you just took 5 minutes, you hiked it once or twice, and you learned something. That is where you build those foundational skills, right? That is how you become a fast rider without taking high risks, without riding out of control. You are going to find out that when you ride fast and in control, say your previous fast level was here, okay? This was as fast as you could go. This represents how fast you could go. This is as fast as you could go. You are almost out of control here. Any little mistake could lead to injury. Instead, what you do is you step back, you learn some stuff, and all that stuff you learned, what you don't know is it just raised up your fast level. Without riding fast and out of control, you just instantly raised up your control level. Let's go again. Remember, we want to brake right here, no brakes. Brake right here, brake, decide. There you have it. Essentially what we're doing here is sessioning, right? Your trail is going to look different. Your experience level is going to be different. The features on the trail might be existent, they might be non-existent. Everything about it will be different, but the process is the same. You session sections and you find out what the physics is going to do to your body. You anticipate things that you know could get out of control, like braking, steering, balance points, traction. Those things, you bring those tools and you start slow, you ride slow. And what you're doing is you're becoming a great rider. Here is the cool thing. Remember how I said that, great riders can look ahead on the trail and kind of anticipate what those sections are gonna feel like, which helps them adapt a plan for a line, as well as a plan for body positioning and how to attack. Well, by starting slow like this, what you are doing is you are training your body how to do that. You're training your mind how to do that in a manner that you can actually digest it and retain that information. So what you are learning how to do is ride proactively and not reactively. I talk about that a lot in some other videos. Riding reactively, you're just constantly off balance, right? And you're constantly trying to regain balance. When you ride proactive, you are planning for what's up ahead of you, right? And when you have a plan, you've pretty much nearly almost conquered that section of trail. So I'm going to talk a lot about that in the next video. So make sure you throw that underwear up on your light shade. So I don't like this line because there's a pinch point right here that you got to kind of do a little swervy around. So because of that, if I want to gain authentic trail speed, I don't want to take that line. So the only way not to get fed into here would be to come from up here. Whoopsie daisy, sorry tenant. So we're gonna change our line up a little bit. Let's check out a different line. Same thing, we're gonna session. We're gonna come through here. Okay, so we need to determine here if we wanna take a drop on the left or just go through on the right. I would likely take the drop, but in this scenario, I'm just gonna take the right side line. I got a chunky thing right there. I'm gonna come up here, get a straighter on shot at this so I can definitely ride this faster. So that was a faster line. I just learned that by sessioning. And to read lines takes time, it takes a lot of riding, and you can definitely speed up the education process by this process of sessioning, right? You get an idea of what a fast line looks like, what a smooth line looks like. You guys hear that tappy tappy? That is my peak, my visor on the camera, but we're getting the tappy tappy, so I might try chest mount here shortly. Put you on my chest to avoid that possibility that you attract male woodpeckers with the knock-in from the audio. Branches are whipping me. Felt good. Now I gotta put it in a fishbowl to make it look fast. So I know what you're saying. You're saying, Josh, this is not a skill. This is 100% a skill. What this is learning how to slow down the process of progression to progress faster, right? You're learning how to learn. This is learning how to learn. It's no different than football practice, soccer practice, boxing practice. Right now, we're learning how to hit a speed bag. Jimmy McQuickfists could go into a gym and try to like put some heat into a speed bag, but if you never pounded on a speed bag before, he's gonna look like a joke.